Inklings.
Okay, you hear the dings. It's time to move. Barnacle and Dine, Clam Blitz, He-Mad versus Never Back Down. It's our second top 8 match. And there's Soda coming out twice. And from the zap there from Ursa.
All right, so a lot of mid-range opportunity to control this battle from Never Back Down. I'm actually very curious to see how that ends out.
A quick pick there from Red's E-Leader Scope.
Yep.
And there's the utility. We talked about this a little bit, that when you put an E-Leader into someone's hands who knows how to use it, it gets bad. But now Red's still alive before the jump out. A delayed wipe in favor of He-Mad early. And the aggression is on for this team. 15 clamps to their name, and the basket open. A great opening push, and a Kraken on the way to follow.
Oh, that's so good. You get the Kraken, and we already saw how many clams are already on there, so you just spread them out. Gives your team plenty of opportunity to capitalize on the net being open and the chaos that you spread. 59 points on board, plenty of opportunity here from He-Mad, but does not look like they're going to be able to take it any further. That's still a great start.
40 seconds in, Hangman. We're not 50 seconds into this game, and we're at 59 points on the board. He-Mad has come to play in this set.
Sometimes you got to let them know, and you got to let them know quick.
Set the tone, and hey, we're talking about mental game, right? When you're down that many points that early, it gets hard to stay in it. And when you get down again, and you're forced to chase as a Kraken and not find the pick, you get mad, you get mad, you get mad. He-Mad doing exactly what they're trying to.
Oh, that's such a tragedy to watch. Circling around the box, getting hung up on them, a wasted Kraken. It's a terrible thing to see, but fantastic if you're He-Mad.
Finally picks in the favor of Never Back Down, our second uppercase team here. Kraken at the other side, gonna change that momentum. A nice couple picks there, and teamwork from Shadow and Maxi coming out. Spec goes down in the process, just a squeezer mid-range, nothing to do there. 4v3 now with respawns in the favor of He-Mad. Another push on the way, 9 clamps to their name. This is unrelenting, Hangman.
One thing I'm noticing about how He-Mad has composed themselves on the map that I'm loving is that besides when the specials break apart, there's this tight little murder ball. You can't find any of them really broken apart. They're just rushing in. You're finding yourself suddenly in 1v3s. And I feel like that's why we're seeing so many sequential splats on the side of Never Back Down. It's 2s, it's 3s, it's delayed wipes. Just this constant overthrow.
He-Mad, use Murder Ball. Like, I mean, it's a Pokemon move, but it's clearly working
and it's looking super effective right now.
And not a lot more coming out on this push, but with one clam and maybe some rotations, there they come. And a Kraken out again, cornering this squeezer player. They can't find anywhere to move. It almost hurts to watch, and there is the jump out and a pick, so that's going to stop some bleeding. No 33 points, just the 53 now. Never Back Down, focusing Paint, Nilla on that squeezer.
It's forcing out such reactionary play from Never Back Down that we're not really getting a chance to see how they can coordinate themselves. They're just fighting to stay in the game right now, and we're getting some great picks from them right now, but they gotta rally. They gotta make the most of this momentum.
There's 3 in their favor. Now just one, looking for one is Nilla with that squeezer, forcing the pencil player all the way back, but it's gonna find a pick on Spec there. That stops the momentum. Another one comes around the side. It's Hunty on the front line with that bucket. No more push for Never Back Down. And backing down right now, it seems like what they're doing.
Yup, you got everyone all together. You got the Tacticooler out. The Tacticooler is just able to really be a physical force of, all right, everyone push. You don't need to say it out loud. You just see this large cylinder. Everyone knows to go in.
You can't see the player cams right now, but from our view, look how chill He-Mad is. They're back straight, arms relaxed, no screaming coming out.
Not a shrimp in sight.
Yeah, and they're 53 ticks in their favor, and another push on the way. It's crazy to see how these teams are handling with this aggression.
This unrelenting pressure from He-Mad. You see them hanging back with the ball. You see them able to break that net at any point. And they're so confidently being able to move into that center stage to start these scuffles. And then they just peel it right back. They've got the range to be able to fight. And at first I was concerned with Never Back Down's ability to fight at the mid-range, but proven dead wrong at this point as He-Mad is just constantly able to take down their leads. A couple more clams and that's it, but 11 is such a comfortable spot to sit in.
4 clams gonna end it now, just the 2 to find the KO, and a pick coming out against Red on the E-Leader. Now Nilla with that squeeze are gonna pick up the ball in hopes, try to do some juggling here, and another pick goes down. Clams to end it, but not the position to make it happen in a wall fight 1v1 here. it's gonna be Hemad finding the win. And that's been the tone this whole game. It's these 1v1s, and there's a little bit more from Hemad coming out of the tank, and that's the difference here.
Positioning looking golden right now as Hemad is forcing this fight at the net. They don't even have the ways to break the net. They just need to make sure that Never Back Down doesn't find a way to move forward.
Yeah, are we watching splat zones right now? I mean,
like
guarding
actually.
mid, like, what is this? And Never Back Down, 2 balls, but nowhere to move. I mean, specials in every direction. It's just Red now on that E-leader, forced all the way back as the overtime counter ticks down. They don't want to give up, but not a lot of hope here.
No, that's going to be that. A brutal game 1.
Man.
They had every resource to turn that game around, except for the gift of space, because they were struggling to leave their spawn.
Oh,
that whole like initial 20 to 10 percentile of the map, that was like, it had no choice but to be theirs, was all they had. There was nowhere else for them to go. They could not rally with all of the specials they had. There wasn't enough Inklings alive to make a push.
I like the specials coming, because normally when I see a game like that, I'm like, okay, where were your forcing specials? You're running double juice and you're running like a bubble. It's like, okay, of course you can't break out. But we saw a Kraken there with no utility time and time again. It's so hard to make something happen when you're forced all the way back in your spawn. I think it comes down to weapon choice, though. If you can you called out that midline so many times, if you can get some frontline support, get some action. We saw the flanks come out in that last set we watched, Hangman. If you can get behind them, maybe that's how you can change things.
And when you have multiple players just huddled on top of each other, that leaves a lot of opening for a potential just AoE sweep.
Right.
If we saw any Zuka there, if we saw a bomb rush, if we just saw something, just clear out the space, we could have seen wipeouts. We could have seen them left and right.
Same idea, exactly.
But there really wasn't anything to just break the phalanx. And that's why we kept on seeing so many splats and just constant pressure from Hemad.
Some deep breaths, some finger stretches coming out. Never back down. Want to stay in this game into game 2 here. Hagglefish Market Tower Control. Hey, it's game 1, right? We actually don't know anything yet. Very different map mode coming out. One that maybe favors some passive gameplay a little bit more with how slow that tower moves. Never Back Down, certainly still in this.
Oh, absolutely. Like, you got to wait until there's a 3 on the scoreboard. Like, you've got plenty of time to rally.
It's like you said, it's so true. You need to wait until it's over before it's over. I mean, truly, how many times have we seen a reverse sweep and our crowd loves it? We love it in the commentary booth. Like, yeah, there's no way around it.
Especially when you consider the next couple of games. Like, not even looking ahead to games 4 and 5, games 2 and 3 alone. The map modes give us a lot of opportunity for us to break to a middle ground and then a potential swing.
Yeah. A wipe on Undertow Spillway Rainmaker is bad, but it's not the end of the world. You can come back, find a special, find a bomb, and maybe get rid of that Rainmaker. But first, before we can get to Rainmaker Undertow, we got Tower Hagglefish on the way.
All right, let's see if we got any changes on the weapons. I saw that to Gal. E-leader is coming back.
So not as much frontline as we want to see, I think, from Never Back Down. The Zap is going to have to be doing overtime. Nilla, though, no longer on that squeezer. That bucket, maybe that's going to be the difference. Helping them find some picks. And the strikes, as we called out, that's going to help with those huddled gameplays. The first pick in their favor, a very different team already in 10 seconds.
Yeah, there's a lot of open space to play with here. You just roll with the momentum, and that's exactly what we're seeing. Hemad getting broken apart.
And look how far up they are as the tower gets that first checkpoint. It's Nilla going down, but a Spider-Man to deal with first. A pick comes out. There's 2. Shadow
for the wipeout.
on down. And there's the 2 more. They're through that first checkpoint, looking for the second, and doing a great job controlling all the spots. Ursa on the top, Ursa helping tower out with one on the top right, making sure nothing can happen. It's Nilla's bucket. Another checkpoint falls. A KO in the making
just
here.
Masterclass positioning here from Never Back Down.
Ursa finding a way to the tower as it stagnates a little bit. One more checkpoint to go. A Kraken coming out from Nolan, finding the pick finally, but it might be too slow as Nilla's in the front top right.
It's doing too
fighting
much
for their
chasing.
life. Finally goes down and the push will end. 13 ticks in a minute. I have deja vu.
That is a hell of a way to start a game like this. And again, it's the fight breaking out in mid. there's so much work ahead of Team Ed. They can do it if they can find themselves on the map. And
That's the E-leader, baby. That's the E-leader working. You have to find the moments, but you find the Pierce, you find the two. We go crazy, the crowd goes crazy, and the momentum starts to swing. A pick now, and player, now in favor of Never Back Down. They're 0-1 in this set, but they're pushing again a minute 40 seconds in.
That's it, finding so much value in this set. The positioning is looking so good. Able to constantly throw themselves ahead. And look at how much jumping we got going on, too.
With juice, you don't need to wait for it. And danger, danger, danger. They have to back up now. It's just the pencil and the shot. It's Hunty alive. Trying to make something happen to Kraken on tower, though. No reason to move forward. The pick's going to come out, but the checkpoint's going to fall with some respawns. A wipeout. But we're in Splatoon 1 now, baby. We've got no checkpoints ahead of us. One push, and that tower is going to cross the finish line for Never Back Down.
That's a very dangerous point threshold to sit at, because if we keep seeing Never Back Down, keep up this momentum, then we're done. You can move it along to the 1-1 now.
What a great way to come back after such a dominant win that Team Ed had. Never Back Down, giving a taste of their own medicine, and tenfold here, if I'm being honest.
Gotta be careful with that Kraken. It's an amazing tool, but if you leave yourself stranded out in the open going through the chase too long, it just leaves you flat-footed with your team.
The cool thing about Kraken, though, is even if you don't find a pick, you bought time. And time is what Team Ed needs here. Getting through this first checkpoint, just looking for it. But not quite going to find it. A great defensive from Never Back Down, keeping them to that check.
And there we see another pick up the E-leader. No scope needed.
What am I watching? Red with an E-leader tap shots? Is this a squeezer?
This is the OG Apex Predator weapon. Like, you got to be reminded why this weapon used to be feared.
But once again, the stoic player cams. I love to call this out because they're so calm as we're looking at madness on the field.
They're just so deep into the game. And I feel like with the gameplay this high pressure, like, you have no choice but to be.
Right. It's an extension of them at this point, for
yeah.
sure. Jumps coming out in a little bit of a neutral game, but picks is what you're going to need to look for to see who's pushing next. And Hunty going down in a trade, so a 3v1, 3v2 on respawns, just Nilla alive. So He-Mad putting the pedal to the metal for the first time, and I don't know if that's enough to make something happen. This machine, this chainsaw not finding utility. It's Spec jumping back out, and another 3 down. They're completely delayed here, and desynced He-Mad. A great opportunity now.
Yeah, just completely broken apart the offensive. And it's looking so good for He-Mad, because every time that they've had to keep a full 4-on-4 struggle, it's ever so slightly inching closer and closer to the end goal. And that's why we're seeing these checkpoints drop. But Tower's going to ride itself right on back.
I'm not quite sure what happened on the left side, but a nice distraction there from Nilla on the bucket. A good choice to trade off of that squeeze for this game. And the extra paint, the extra slaying ability is making all the difference here. We're seeing them win 1v1s all the time now. Yeah,
taking into account the verticality of the map, I think, is a huge detail here, because you have to consider how dynamic the fight is as the tower's moving. You have to keep the pressure up, and your lines of sight being obscured can't have a big effect on that. So Tri-Slasher, excellent option moving into it.
Juiced up and on the front lines. They're in a ranged sloshy 1v1, but gonna get called out by Ursa's Enzap now. Looking for another one, and finding the pick on Shadow. So that push is gonna end now, but a little bit more momentum to take, but 2 picks finding the end of the Kraken, and strikes are gonna come out, launching everyone off tower, and out of nowhere, the Chainsaw is able to come through with that special, find a way onto the tower and end it before things turn from bad to worse, and a win now tying the set at 1-1, Never Back Down, still in this thing.
Rush, can you imagine the stone-cold nerves to see 2 of your teammates get splatted, Kraken breathing down your throat, and you just jump past it? Just jump past it. You just need to touch the tower.
And 3 down at that. He-Mad found the picks just when no one's on the tower. Tri-strikes, there's nothing you can do. You have to jump off, and the coordinated specials there meant that you could teleport effectively and end that game. So what a nice little tool in the pocket. It's like a GG Stingray from Splatoon 2. Well, here's a GG combo.
Just fantastically played. And it looked like such a confident start. It looked like it was going to just be over and done with, but we saw such a good fight out of the corner.
Yeah.
He-Mad.
Never Back Down, proving to us why they're here. I mean, that first game looked bad, but Never Back Down is certainly a team deserving of this top 8, and they're looking for the top 4, and hey, they deserve that too.
They're living up to their team name. Simple as.
Never backing down. I call that too soon.
Yeah,
Far
no,
too soon.
it could definitely be a bit too early to call, but plenty of set ahead of us as Game 3 brings us onto Undertow for Rainmaker.
Okay, well, hey, we're guaranteed to see some Mahi Maki Resort now.
Very
but
true.
I don't want to move us too far ahead.
I love me some zones.
Well, I don't want to move us too far ahead here, Hangman. Calm yourself. Calm yourself. We've got Undertow Spillway Rainmaker next.
Yes.
And here's a map that can snowball, snowball, snowball. We saw a very smart play last time, just choosing to take it right side, noticing defenders had already set up on the left and force it through right. But hey, it's circumstantial. So the question is, will these teams play strong enough and rotate the way they need to on the defensive, or are we going to see windows open up like that? Because when the doorway's open, and you can make that call to push.
And Rainmaker itself, just fundamentally such a silly game mode, because you can have just absolute blitz, grab your checkpoints, go for the goal, and finish it just like that. Or we're just sat at these awkward point deficits. Just a grueling battle, just a fight for just a smidgen of a lead. And I feel like Undertow definitely fits more into the latter than the former. Like, especially when it comes to controlling any type of positioning around center. Like, you could just completely stop the match. You just bleed it out of all momentum.
I mean, I'm going to pull us back to like those first Splatoon 3 trailers. We saw that checkpoints were in Rainmaker. We were all like, praise be, we figured it out. It's going to slow down. It's Tower 2.0. But hey, cheese still exists.
Yup.
There's still time that you can force it through and make things happen with the speed we've seen now from both of these teams, really. That's on the table this whole game.
Yeah, you want a slow game, you got to make it a slow game.
Right. Popping power here maybe in the favor of Never Back Down with that end zap, but doesn't look like, there it goes. Going to switch back over to their favor. Red helping out with that E-leader, looking for a pick, which is barely out of range, is the pencil for He-Mad, and doing a great job. Look how aggressive Red is set up with that E-leader. That's not the position we saw E-leaders in Splatoon 1. It's not what we saw in the last game. That's aggressive gameplay.
I think
the
E-leader itself is such a smart pick for specifically fighting against the Snipe Rider. When you're dealing with pencil, you have to account for the fact it's shooting often, it's shooting to ink, it's shooting to get cooler on the board. It's not shooting for picks. Oftentimes that's not its focus. So if you cause the pencil to constantly reposition and just put themselves in their own ink, they're not going to get the cooler on the board. They're not going to find their picks. They're not going to be able to support their team, but that's what we're seeing out of He-Mad as they make their offensive.
I was going to say, the same goes the other way. If you can force that E-leader to move around, now it's a scope charger. If you can force them to move around, there's not much you can do. The vacuum is going to slow it down. So hey, a great pick for Rainmaker from Red, but going down now in a 2v2 situation. Defense not coming out for Never Back Down. He-Mad able to keep moving forward. It's just a 1v1 here as jumps come out, and a forced end of that special means a trade, and jumps are coming through. This push is not over, but dropping down now and opting to move to the flank, that might be enough to make something happen.
I love this positioning.
A pick and a Kraken, and you're in a player advantage here. Oh no!
Just drilling through the back lines here. And the score to find it. Emphatic play from He-Mad.
Man, Hangman. I mean, one flank and that's it. One flank and you end the game. I mean, that's what we're seeing time and time again in these matches is if you can get behind them, if you can force them to go, oh crap, where are they? You got to keep counting. You got to say, I see 3, where's 4? Where's 4? Where's the 4th guy?
And it may have just been the one flank, but what a flank it was to be
truly,
able
truly.
to put you put so much ink behind you just in the flank itself. So you have somewhere to retreat if you need to. But you have so much force behind you, and then you get the Kraken on top of that. You're finding picks here and there. You're making it nowhere safe to run at all.
Yeah, I hate this rhetoric that this is some kind of cheese. I mean, truly, like, that's aggressive, smart gameplay. Let's move to the left. Let's move around the side. Let's make something happen. That's a different beast.
Yeah, it does take a certain skill set to be able to execute that. Like, anyone can say, oh yeah, just hit the back line. Just flank them, it's that easy. But like, to be able to have the rest of your team follow up on that, because getting the flank off, all right, you checked off your solo queue bingo card. Good job. Now, you got the other 3 members of your team to actually win the game.
Right, can you make something happen out of it?
And that's what we saw. We saw the immediate follow-up on the disruption from the Kraken lead to an immediate goal.
Right. We didn't have time to move to the Rainmaker POV because we thought the Kraken was going to tear it up longer. No,
and then we just see the Rainmaker
Yeah,
Man
the
down.
paint's there. The paint's there. Let's move forward. Let's end this thing. He-Mad's up 2-1 now. We're moving into Splat Zones. I'll let you talk about your baby now, Hangman.
Love Splat Zones. Splat Zones, I feel like, is such a good game mode to emphasize fundamental understandings for Splatoon, because and you brought this up actually in game 1 in allusion to how Splat Zones is played. When you fight out from the mid, when you're fighting out from that 50th percent mark on the map so that you're fighting in your opponent's space, you're making them fight for breathing room while you're winning the game mode. You have the objective to sit back on. So if you need to fall back, you're already fighting where you need to be. You don't need any extra work. And very simplistic layout here. There's not a lot of cover. You got to stay very mobile if you want to be defensive.
That's going to change quickly, though, as this map, the water level is going to change pretty soon. Rarely do we see a game sort of defined on this section of the mat and 3 down quick.
Also, just a quick highlight of the Brella that's on the map.
Hey, it's land. We don't deal with weird latency now. Umbrella's actually so viable, and it's strong here. I think it's a little bit passive when paired with that E-leader. But look, I think Never Back Down already in the lead, already pushing this forward. They're going to be trying to prove that it works. And look, they've made it this far playing this map a million times. I think they've proved it already.
Yeah. Listen, you've got a consistent game plan. You have consistent execution of that game plan. You might as well let it rip.
Brella's going to tear it up here, though, losing it, throw bombs. I had a coach once tell me, if you see a Tentabrella, just chuck the bomb. And that means that you're not going to have a lot to fight with here in mid. But a good job being able to hold this zone and stay alive, you know, losing that Brella back up. What a shark there from Hunty, and it's going to be able to convert into a full wipeout in their favor. So He-Mad,
excellent play.
The first true lockout we've seen. We've seen back and forth so far, getting to 68. Well, here's a lockout. Look how far up Hunty and Nolan are on that right side. And the follow-up from the left, there's nowhere to breathe for Never Back Down.
This is exactly what I love seeing about zones. You have so few options as the team on the heel here.
Zuka
You just keep on pushing out.
Zuka looking for the second, not going to find it, though. And a nice pick there and a trade. So now it's Nolan popping that special to hold on, being able to backtrack, say, whoa, 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 get out of my mid. As the turf changes shapes. 40 ticks remain, no cap coming out for Never Back Down.
Not able to move over the zip.
3v2 situation. Oh, Zipcaster looking for something to happen, but 30 ticks remain, 3 minutes remain. And He-Mad not letting go of this zone.
Never Back Down pressing to the corner. How are they going to be able to press forward here and take it back? They have the Brella to be able to push alongside of, but with the supers out, they can't make heads or tails of this situation.
And the Brella gets stuck on that block in mid, so 3 ticks become 0. He-Mad's.
Fantastic.
He-Mad's moving on to top 4. And the hugs come out, the dap up, and the thumbs up. What a combo. I wish we saw that more.
The thumbs up into the dap thumb combo.
And it's the Mammoth again.
Mammoth.
I need to know. I need to know.
They both got the Mammoth.
Hangman, what is the Mammoth?
We just don't know.
Are they saying they're old? Are they saying they've been around since the Mammoths? They know how to play the game? Like, I don't know.
From the
Production's like, that's it. You figured it out.